Now please join me in welcoming your MC for the forum, Ideas Director of Product Portfolio Management, Steve Horton!
Thanks and welcome to the 2011 Idea eBiz Forum. We've got a great lineup for you today. Little housekeeping. We want to thank our premier sponsors, Epicor, Activant, and Unilog. Also, don't forget to see the exhibitors to get your passport stamps and for the giveaways and the prizes. Also, you'll be getting baseballs. Collect them, giving away more prizes. We're tweeting this year for all you tweeters, and the best tweeter is going to get an iPad 2. So this year the theme is shifting ideas to results, and it's going to be pretty interesting. I think you're really going to enjoy Bob Gaylord's presentation, and we have Andrew White from Gartner. We have a panel that's, I'm not even going to say the name of it yet. It's kind of a surprise. It's pretty interesting. So, but to get things going this morning, I'd like to introduce first our chairman of the board, Larry Stern. Larry is the president and CEO of Standard Electric and has been on the board for 4 years, active in many industry organizations, including NAD and affiliated distributors and supply force. And then next we're going to hear from Bob Gaylord and again then Andrew White in our panel. So let's start with introducing and welcoming our chairman, Larry Stern.
Excuse me, or good morning. I'm a little smaller than Steve, obviously. First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody to our annual eBiz Forum. I can't help but start off, and these baseballs kind of remind me that being in the heart of St. Louis and coming from Milwaukee, I can't help but say, how about those Brewers this year? I'm sorry for anybody from St. Louis, but you know, it's kind of exciting up in Milwaukee this year. I'd like to, first of all, thank all the attendees for taking time out of their busy schedules to come to St. Louis for this meeting. And as Steve had done, I'd also like to thank all the sponsors that without your support, we obviously are not able to put on a forum like this every year. This is the only business meeting that is focused on electronic commerce, on e-business in the electrical industry. The changes that are going on that we're going to be learning about over the next couple of days are coming at us so rapidly that we need a forum like this annually every year to be able to get updated, and we really appreciate everybody's attendance. That is one of the reasons why I have individuals from my company come here every year. IDEA as an organization is keeping their pulse on new technologies for us, and that's why they come to work every day. That's why they are doing what they're doing in order to help us in our businesses. And I'm really excited that over the last year alone, and we'll learn more about it, they've developed numerous new products and services, the attribute fulfillment service, the product management platform. All these things are things that we're able to use in our businesses to improve our efficiencies. But they obviously can't do it alone. Even though they get up every day working on new technologies, developing new tools for us, we need ourselves and our organizations to create a culture of change, to be able to take these technologies and implement them in order to improve our process, to make ourselves more efficient. So when you're looking at the manufacturers in the room, when I'm talking to you, when I talk about a culture of change, you need to go back to your organizations and you need to make a priority to clean up your data. You need to make a priority to develop all the marketing content to attribute the data in the IDW for us. When I'm looking at distributors in the room, same thing. You need to make sure that your systems are able to handle all this new information. You need to develop the robust storefronts that we're all talking about as an industry. All these things are extremely important for us to do as an industry together. To shift gears a minute, in your packets that you all received, there was a whole bunch of information, but there's one really important magazine, TED magazine, that if you had a chance to take a look at it, there was an article in there that Del Nickel and I were part of, the past chairman of IDEA. In fact, just to digress a minute, it was the featured article in there. But you know, if you looked at the cover of the magazine, you know, I love these guys at Springfield Electric dearly, but they have big pictures of them on the cover of the magazine. But on the cover it said we were the featured article. I think somewhere buried, it might have been page 78, and I think there were these I don't know, Del, there were these little pictures you could barely see who we were in there, But that aside, I think it's a great article to read, and in there we were indicating to the industry that we think there's a lot of great new things going on. In particular, we believe the development of the marketing information, the attributing the data that is needed for all of us to develop the robust storefronts and run our businesses. We believe in the next 12 to 18 months, we're going to have the information that we need to be able to do that for ourselves, and we're really excited about the progress that's going on there. And of course, I think when I'm telling you about that, I think I'm preaching to the choir in this room, but you can go back to your organizations and call your trading partners, talk to them, figure out how to develop the data that you need specifically for yourselves that they can then populate in the IDW. And I think with all of our help, with talking to our trading partners, with emphasizing the need for that, we are going to accomplish that task in the next 12 to 18 months. So with that, I'd like to turn over the meeting to IDEA's President and CEO, Bob Gaylord. He's going to be coming up to discuss how we are going to be shifting some of the ideas that we talked about into results for the industry, and discussing some of these ways that we're going, that with the outputs that have been created by IDEA, improve our businesses. These different things I think are very exciting, and I'm excited to hear more about them too. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, Bob Gaylord.
Well, good morning. I don't know about y'all, but I'm pretty wired up for this thing. A couple of cups of coffee, a 5-hour energy drink, a 5-mile run, and I'm set to go. And I was looking for y'all out there. I didn't see many of y'all. But before I kick off and talk about some of the specifics, I want to do a couple of things first. One, answer a customer question, because we're customer friendly. Andrea, who's here? Andrea, you here? I can't see. Oh, I'm sorry. The Taste of Chicago tonight is indoors here, right? Our Taste of St. Louis is here.
Taste
Chicago, Milwaukee, Taste of Milwaukee.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to jump up.
Taste of St. Louis is here in the building.
It's here and it's downstairs.
Okay, so you don't need major walking shoes, you don't need outside weather, you don't need gear, you don't need to worry about inclement weather because it's going to be in the building. I answered a customer question. I'm really wired up now. Okay, I want to thank a number of groups. First of all, I'd like all the IDEA board members, if you would stand up, please. All the IDEA board members, I know you all out there. Thank you all for what you do. These are the ladies and gentlemen who give us the guidance and the direction we need as a staff to accomplish the mission that you all have sort of laid out for us through them. So we appreciate what they do. Del, if you'd come up here just for a quick second. What a great picture. Did you see that picture? Look at that picture.
You're glad you got a younger picture of me.
Look at that.
I don't know if I can hold my breath that long.
Wait. That's what happens when you retire like that. You go back, you get slim, you work out, you get physically fit, you get out in the golf course. Look at that. Now,
thank you.
Is there anybody who does not see the resemblance? All right, there you go. What we'd like to do is briefly just recognize you. This is really a pretty cool club, and I don't play golf. But
That is a pretty cool
I'm going to give this to Larry, and if I could ask you to pass on to Dell.
I'm not using it. Thank you very much.
Dell, as all the board members, give freely of their time. And we've sort of taken advantage of that in the last year since Dell did retire. And we've used him on the road, and he's accompanied me on many, many trips. Some of them have been really an eye-opening epiphany for him because he gets to see the channel from a different perspective than what he would have seen when he was the CEO of Pentair Hoffman. So he sees it differently and has seen it differently for the last couple of years, and he's also seen a transition. But if I could go back to the opening slide that we had, because I'm going to ask these two gentlemen to sort of throw out, we're going to throw out these baseballs. Keep these. As Amanda said last night, they all have a number on them, and if you bring them, I think it's tomorrow, they're going to have a drawing for some prizes. But I'm going to ask each of you all just to toss them out there. You can name it somebody. They're soft beanbag type things. They're those hacky sack things. So they're not really hard baseballs. They're probably not going to hurt you unless you just watch it come dead in your face. Then it might hurt you. So if I could ask you all to toss it on out. I want the opening slide up. Whoa, all right. Now, why I wanted them to do that and why I wanted them to stay up here is as you look at that opening slide and you talk about gateway to change and shifting ideas or shift ideas to results, that's really a call to action. We're not talking about shifting, we're talking about shift. It's an aggressive posture because we've been talking about this and we've been at this business a long time. A lot of people getting frustrated. I can guarantee you no one is getting more frustrated than me and the staff at trying to move this along. But if you look at the base of that magnificent arch, and I'm not going to go into the analogy I gave, well, maybe I will, the Standards Committee yesterday, but that magnificent arch is based on two very solid foundations, manufacturers and distributors, represented by the past chair and the current chair, manufacturers, distributors. And we rotate every year because of that. So we get both sides of the perspective, two very different foxhole views on a common playing field in a common room talking about common issues of mutual impact. Because it's about bottom line revenue, it's about sustainability, it's about progress. So thank you, gentlemen, for what you do, and thank all the board members. And when I talked to the Standards Committee yesterday, I talked to them because that arch when I was running yesterday morning, and as I was coming back and I looked at it being juxtaposed against a very deep navy blue background, highlighted by the amber light from the east going to the west, and I saw a star. And what struck me, and why I stopped running, because I don't like to do that, was because there was a single star up there. And what it occurred to me was that was symbolic of our standards base that we have, which differentiates us from being a pure for-profit organization. We are standards-based based upon a consensus, which any of you who have worked trying to forge consensus knows is very, very difficult. It's not easy. But they're the ones shining the light on the future through that archway, the gateway to change. And through them we can shift from ideas to results. And we'll talk about that. But it's also as a result of the staff. So I want first of all, I want all the people who work the Standards Committee, and there were some who were there for the first time yesterday, if all the standards folks would stand up. Because now you'll see that we are really talking a little bit to the choir. So everyone who was at the Standards Committee, or you are on the Standards Committee, or you attended the Standards Committee, or you're really excited about the Standards Committee, stand up. There you go. Now that last point should have brought everybody to their feet, because you ought to be excited about standards, because with standards you can deviate, because you can always go back to a common line, a common plane, a baseline, if you will. Now deviate back and forth. So I'd also like to thank the members of the staff. You talk about people doing nug work every day, grinding things out, working very, very hard for you and it's the staff. So if all the staff could stand up briefly. Thank you, folks. Thank you, team. Before I really crank into it, I want to thank again all of our sponsors. I want to echo those thoughts. I want to particularly the premier sponsors, Epicor and Unilog. As I mentioned last night at the opening session, Epilog has been with us, Epilog Activin has been with us from the very, very beginning. Without their partnership, without their friendship, without that relationship, we would not have a lot of things that we have today. I can dadgum guarantee you that. I'd also like to thank Unilog, another great partner, strategic partner of ours. More recently came in, really started about 2009, helping with the development of the UNSPSC codes, which has enabled the channel to develop an attribute schema by category of product that now gives a common denominator that you can flow out at least a minimum set of marketing attributes for your products. Is it the sine qua non? No. Is it 100%? No. Was it intended to be? No. Because as is everything else, it's an evolution. And it's a cyclical thing. Spiral development. You got something working, you keep it working, but you improve it constantly as it goes along. Roll the tape, please.